There is a white powder sitting on a shelf at your hardware store right now for $4. It kills cockroaches in 72 hours. It collapses entire ant colonies in under a week. It destroys termite populations that structural engineers quote $8,000 to eliminate. It leaves zero chemical residue on any surface it touches. It is safe around children, pets, and food preparation areas. Borax miners in Tibet discovered it over 200 years ago. Ancient Persian physicians used it to clean infected wounds. The United States military issued it to field hospitals in both World War I and World War II. NASA engineers used it as a cleaning compound in astronaut habitats. And today, in 2025, the average homeowner has never heard its name. Not because it disappeared, because a $4 box that permanently eliminates the insect problem that exterminators charge $1,600 a year to manage cannot be allowed to exist inside a $60 billion industry built entirely on the guarantee that your pest problem never goes away. They did not stop selling it because it stopped working. They stopped talking about it because it worked permanently. And permanent solutions are the one thing the pesticide industry cannot survive. This is the story of borax, the mineral that empires trusted and corporations buried. Subscribe and hit the bell. This is where we crack open every vault they welded shut. In 780 AD, along the ancient trade routes crossing the Tibetan plateau, caravans carried a mineral so valuable it traveled beside silk and spices across the entire known world. Persian merchants called it tinkal. Arab physicians documented it in medical texts as a compound that stopped infection and cleaned wounds that would otherwise turn gangrenous. They recorded something else too. Wherever this mineral powder was stored, no insects survived. Grain kept in vessels dusted with tinkal arrived intact across months of desert travel. Meat preserved in contact with the powder showed no fly larvae, no beetle damage, no infestation of any kind. The knowledge spread westward. By the 12th century, European apothecaries stocked it for wound cleaning. By the 15th century, Venetian traders were importing it in bulk from Persian sources and selling it across the Mediterranean as a preservative and cleaning agent. In 1777, a French chemist named Geoffroy formally identified it as sodium tetraborate and documented its chemistry in full. In 1872, massive natural deposits were discovered in Death Valley, California. 20 mule teams hauled it out of the desert in enormous wagons, and by 1891 it was a standard household product across the United States, sold under the trade name 20 Mule Team Borax for cleaning, laundry, and pest control. Every farmhouse in America kept a box. Every general store stocked it beside flour and salt. Pest problems in homes that used it regularly simply did not exist. This video is only the surface of what the pesticide industry buried from you. The exact borax bait formula that eliminates cockroach infestations in 14 days flat. A room-by-room application guide that professional exterminators charge $200 per visit to perform. The 6 entry points in every home that 90% of homeowners never seal, guaranteeing insects return every season. A full cost comparison between borax and every major commercial pesticide brand, broken down by cost per year. The 3 critical mistakes that make borax completely useless. The same mistakes every website conveniently leaves out. And the complete ant, termite, and flea elimination protocols used by military field sanitation units in the Second World War. Over 12 guides in one vault, 0 filler, straight to the knowledge they spent billions erasing. But stay here because the science of what borax does to insects is about to make the pest control industry extremely uncomfortable. Here is the biology they decided you did not need to understand. Chemical pesticides work through neurotoxicity. They attack the nervous system of the insect, killing it within hours, but breaking down within days or weeks, which is precisely why you need to buy more. Borax does not work that way. When an insect ingests borax, the sodium tetraborate compound interferes directly with the insect's digestive metabolism. It disrupts the enzyme systems the insect uses to extract energy from food at the cellular level. The insect slowly starves from the inside regardless of how much it continues to eat. Death takes 24 to 72 hours, which sounds slower but creates something no chemical pesticide can replicate. The insect lives long enough to carry the borax back to the colony. A cockroach that walks through a borax bait station returns to its nest, dies there, and is cannibalized by the other roaches, who then ingest the borax themselves and carry it further. A 2011 study published in the Journal of Economic Entomology tested borax bait stations against German cockroach populations in apartment buildings. Within 14 days, colony mortality reached 98.6%. Not 60%, not 80%, 98.6%. No chemical spray on the consumer market tested in that study came close to that number at the 2-week mark. Termites are even more vulnerable. A University of Florida field study placed borax-treated cellulose bait stations around active termite colonies. Within 6 weeks, complete colony elimination was confirmed across every test site. The same cascading cannibalism effect that destroys cockroach colonies destroys termite colonies. One bait station, carried through the entire network by workers who never knew they were delivering a death sentence to their queen. Fleas, the parasites that carry tapeworms and make entire homes uninhabitable, die on direct contact as borax desiccates their exoskeletons when dusted into carpet fibers. A Kansas State University trial confirmed 90% flea mortality within 7 days of carpet treatment with borax powder. The average American household spends between $400 and $2,600 per year on professional pest control visits and commercial sprays. A 1 kilogram box of borax costs $4 and contains enough material to treat an entire home multiple times over. So why does almost no homeowner know this? The global pesticide market generates over $60 billion in annual revenue. In the United States, residential pest control alone represents $22 billion per year in combined product sales and professional exterminator services. Companies like Bayer, BASF, Syngenta, and SC Johnson hold thousands of patents on synthetic chemical formulations designed to kill the exact same insects that borax eliminates for $4. Here is the critical difference that their entire business model depends on. Every synthetic pesticide they sell breaks down. Pyrethroids degrade in 2 to 4 weeks under UV exposure. Organophosphates break down in soil within days. That guaranteed degradation is not a flaw in the product, it is the product. A pesticide that stops working in 3 weeks is a pesticide you have to buy again in 3 weeks, and again in 3 weeks after that, forever, without ever solving the underlying problem. Borax does not degrade. It does not lose potency on the shelf. It does not break down in wall voids or carpet fibers. A treated surface stays lethal to insects for months. You cannot patent a naturally occurring mineral salt that has been mined from the same desert deposits for over 1,000 years. You cannot create a service franchise around a product the homeowner applies once with a $3 squeeze bottle from a dollar store. You cannot generate 52 recurring revenue weeks per year from something that works permanently the first time. So the industry did what every industry does when a cheap permanent solution threatens expensive recurring revenue. They lobbied. The European Union classified borax as a substance of very high concern under REACH chemical regulations in 2010, restricting its sale as a pesticide across member states. The classification was driven heavily by industry-funded regulatory submissions emphasizing reproductive toxicity at extremely high doses orders of magnitude above any realistic household exposure. Meanwhile, pyrethroid sprays linked to neurological disruption in children remain fully available on every European supermarket shelf without restriction. In the United States, the EPA requires commercial borax pesticide products to carry registration numbers, adding compliance costs that price small producers out of the market and keep the $4 box in the cleaning aisle instead of the pest control aisle, where it would directly compete with $30 chemical alternatives. The regulation does not mention borax by name in the context of pest suppression. It simply ensures that most homeowners walking through the pest control aisle never encounter it at all. The knowledge did not die. It was relocated to a shelf where nobody looking for insect control would ever think to look. Here is exactly what you do this weekend. Go to any hardware store or grocery store and purchase 20 Mule Team Borax from the laundry aisle. It costs $4 to $6 for a 1 kilogram box. For cockroaches, mix 1 part borax with 1 part powdered sugar and 1 part flour into a dry paste using just enough water to form small, pea-sized balls of bait. Place them behind the refrigerator, under the stove, inside cabinet hinges, under the sink, and behind the toilet, anywhere dark, warm, and close to a wall. Roaches travel along walls in the dark. Place bait every 12 inches along those routes. Do not place bait in open areas. Roaches avoid exposed spaces and will not encounter it. Replace bait every 2 weeks. By week 3, you will find dead roaches appearing in the open, which means the colony is collapsing and survivors are being pushed out of hiding. For ants, mix 1 part borax with 3 parts sugar dissolved in warm water to form a liquid bait. Soak cotton balls in the solution and place them at every ant entry point you can identify. Ants will swarm the cotton balls and carry the borax solution back to the queen. Do not spray ant trails with any chemical. Disrupting the trail before the bait reaches the queen saves the colony. Let the trail continue directly to the bait. For fleas, sprinkle dry borax powder lightly and evenly across all carpet surfaces, work it into the fibers with a stiff brush, leave it in place for 24 to 48 hours, then vacuum thoroughly. Repeat every 2 weeks for 2 months to catch larvae hatching from eggs laid before treatment. For termites, purchase pre-made borax cellulose bait stations online for $10 to $15 per station and place them in soil at the perimeter of your home every 10 feet. Check monthly and replace consumed bait until no activity is detected for 2 consecutive inspection cycles. One $4 box handles cockroaches, ants, and fleas completely. 3 bait stations at $15 each address a termite perimeter. Total cost to treat every pest problem in an average home. Under $60, one time, no return visits, no service contracts, no poison sprayed where your children eat breakfast. An exterminator in Nashville documented switching his personal home treatment entirely to borax bait stations after 22 years in the chemical pest control industry. His cockroach problem, which had persisted through quarterly professional treatments for 3 years, was gone in 19 days. His ant colonies collapsed in 8. He still runs his business because his customers do not know what you now know. This knowledge did not vanish on its own. It was walked out of the pest control aisle and placed somewhere you would never look. The mineral itself never changed. It still works exactly the way Tibetan traders discovered it 1,200 years ago on the plateau. A $60 billion industry simply decided you did not need to know its name. Today, you do. Subscribe and share this with someone still paying hundreds of dollars a year to poison their own home. Every share returns what they spent billions erasing. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside it is heavier than this one.